Hey everybody, it's Krishana. Welcome back to my channel, and we are in the thick of NaNoWriMo. So this is going to be a writing vlog all about the first week of NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month, and my goal to write 50,000 words in just 1 month, 30 days. So this is actually day 2 of NaNoWriMo. I will go back and show a little bit of footage that I had from day 1. It's not that exciting. But basically, this morning I am up with the newborn and I'm about to eat. I have my matcha. Listen, y'all, okay, can we just talk for a second? After I had my newborn, I laid off caffeine for a while, mostly because if a baby's gonna be keeping you up and you need to sleep when the baby sleeps, then if I'm drinking caffeine, how am I possibly going to be able to sleep when they sleep if I'm drinking caffeine? So I decided to start drinking matcha. I used to love Starbucks matcha. I used to get it with just milk, no additional water added. It was nice and creamy and lovely. So I started buying this matcha that I moderately enjoy, mostly just for the caffeine. But it doesn't beat coffee. But now it's been almost 3.5 months of me drinking matcha and not drinking traditional coffee. And I'm like, is it too late to go back? Like, I don't know, y'all. Help me out. If you drink matcha, tell me how you drink it that makes you love it, because it's giving bland, honestly. Even with like honey and everything, I don't know. So anyway, I had my matcha. I also made my breakfast, which, you know, I eat the same thing every morning, which is usually like eggs and spinach, toast, and some like chicken sausage or something like that, just to fuel myself up. Let me show y'all something real quick. So we did trick-or-treating on the 31st with our little, and I just have to show y'all how ridiculous it was. We bought all this candy. This is not even all the candy we bought, and literally no kids came by trick-or-treating. Like, WTF. So I'm gonna show. Like, look at all this candy. So ridiculous. Yes, I am filming on my iPhone. This is not going to be a very highly produced video. I'm just going to be swinging the camera around however I see fit. So that happened. We have all this candy in the house, which I'm probably going to just like get rid of it. We're letting our little one, our 3-year-old, have some candy. He went trick-or-treating as well. But it's like a max of like 4 pieces a day. And they're like teeny little pieces because that child cannot be hyped up on sugar. I'm not having it. But back to writing. So typically we have some childcare help in the evenings once my little gets back from forest school. But unfortunately, our nanny is not feeling well. As y'all know, I'm still on maternity leave. So I'm going to try to get some writing done like this morning, because once the toddler comes home, like it's a wrap. I'm not getting any more writing done. So what I think I'm going to do is eat breakfast, change the baby, and then I'm going to wear him while I write is my plan. So where I'm going to be getting started today, I'm working on my short story again. I got, I think, 331 words, something like that, written yesterday. So today is now day 2 of NaNoWriMo. So I'll be working on that today. But before we do today, let me go back and show you the footage of day 1. Hey y'all, it's Krishana. Welcome back to my vlog. See, I just finished my very first sprint for NaNoWriMo. I did a 30-minute sprint and was able to write about 547 words. As folks may remember, I am first working on a short story and then moving on towards my novel. So my short story, I'm planning to be about 7,000 words. It is a fantasy. And then the rest of the words I'm going to be saving for my novel, which is also speculative fiction, and it is a sci-fi. So for this first sprint, I actually held my newborn. If folks don't know, I had a baby back in mid-July, and I'm still on maternity leave. This is my last month of leave. And so I definitely will be experiencing NaNoWriMo as a mom with a newborn, which is definitely an interesting experience. So what I decided to do for this sprint was wear my little one in my Moby carrier. I think a lot of folks know that a lot of this story is written, and I'm kind of just like, I guess, editing and changing things up based on the outline that I worked on during Preptober as we go. And I think this process is going to work really well. My plan is to be done this short story in 3 days. So November 3rd, I should be, that evening, hopefully I should be completely done reworking this story and be able to set that aside so that I can spend the 4th through the 30th of November, okay, baby, working on my longer novel. So I'm very like just excited and proud of myself that I was able to like do all of these things and get some work done. So what I think I'm gonna do is take maybe like a 15-minute break. I need to feed my little one, maybe change them, and make sure that they are good to go. And then we're gonna get started again with another sprint. So let's get to it. Okay, friends, time for a super quick update. I just finished my first sprint of day 2. And honestly, I feel a little exhausted, to be honest. I didn't get like a ton of sleep last night. And I'm kind of like slogging through it a little bit. I feel a little tired. So I'm thinking that I'm just gonna take an L and actually get some coffee, because like finishing this is more important than not finishing this, because this is a very important goal that I have. I will say that the vast majority of what I'm doing is like rereading the parts that I've already written and copying and pasting the sections I want to keep into the new document. Doing some small editing as I go, just because, as I said previously, I was very like wordy in some of these portions. And then I think I also explained that I needed to switch the 2 characters around. And so it's a lot of like replacing names and making like subtle edits and changes. And it's just like a little exhausting to do, but we're going to move on. So I'm going to order my coffee, get a little snack, hang out with the baby for a little bit, and I think maybe fully do like maybe a 15-minute break, and then I'm gonna get back to it for another 30-minute session, which probably I'm gonna try to do 3 30-minute sessions today before the toddler gets home. So let's pray that I'm actually able to do it. See y'all at the next break. Okay, friends, so we are done with our break and about to start our next writing sprint. And for this one, I'm actually gonna hold my little in the carrier while I write, but I figured while I was doing the wrapping the carrier that I would do this really cool author tag. So I have the questions. I'm going to be reading them off the screen, and I'm going to give you the answers. So the first question is, where's your favorite place to write? So a lot of the times now I write in my office just because it's convenient and I have everything I need. But my actual favorite place to write is a cafe. I love to people watch. And I'm one of those people who enjoys a little bit of chaos. And so that means that I can like stay in the noisy environment of a cafe. So I'm listening to people's drink orders. I'm looking at what they have on. I'm looking at who's sitting at tables together. And I love that I can get like refills on my coffee and kind of zone out sometimes when I want to. I love the little music in the background. It creates a nice ambiance. So yeah, definitely for me, it is like a cafe kind of coffee shop. It can even be a bookstore, honestly, like either or. If it's local, great, like a local owned place. But if it has to be Starbucks, that's fine too, honestly. So either one of those. Next question, coffee or tea? So y'all know I'm a little bit of both. I'm definitely a coffee girl. I used to have like I've like gone through the gamut of orders at Starbucks, right? Gone from like caramel macchiato, extra caramel, frappes, lattes, chais, all of that. Then I even was getting like Americano, because I'm like, how can I get my caffeine in quickly without a lot of calories, blah, 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 I did all that. And so I also drink a lot of different teas. So y'all know I drink my matcha every morning. I drink tea before bed, which is usually lavender and chamomile tea. Now that I'm nursing, I drink a mother's milk tea, so both, honestly. I'm not an either or kind of girl. I think that both have benefits, so I do both. What's your favorite book of all time? That is such a hard one. Favorite book of all time. I'll give you books in different parts of my life. So I would say, like, as a child, the book that I would like reread and definitely is like stuck in my brain is A Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine L'Engle. That book, like, I've just probably reread that book so many times, like so many times. I have collected different covers. I even read some of the like follow-up books, because there's actually like a series. It's actually not just one book. So that would probably be my like childhood favorite book. I would say as an adult, I don't know, there's books that have like an impression on me. So there's a writer, Sharon M. Draper, who has a series about at a high school. And one of the books, Forged by Fire and Darkness Before Dawn, those two books. And I haven't read them in a really long time. So if they got something problematic going on in them, I'm sorry, y'all, I can't be helpful. But they were just like, I just remember them vividly. Like, I just have like a lot of vivid memories of those books. I also read Black Boy and Native Son really early too, like early elementary school. And so those are also pivotal books for me. So anything by Langston Hughes for sure. And then my adult favorite book, I'm trying to think, what's a book that I always recommend to people? I don't know. It really depends on people's vibes. So I don't know if I have a favorite book as an adult, because I recommend different things to different people for different reasons. And I haven't reread a book in a long time as an adult. But I would reread something I think is interesting. So I don't know. I don't have one for adult. Next question. NaNoWriMo, yes or no? Duh, yes, obviously. I'm doing NaNoWriMo right now. We're in the thick of it. Next question. Genre you would write if you had no restrictions. It probably would still be speculative fiction, honestly. So both sci-fi and fantasy, and then I guess like magical realism. Because when I say fantasy, a lot of the times I really mean magical realism. But maybe I would also write romance. I've been thinking about that. Like, should I be a romance girly? I don't know. If you could have any superpower, what would it be? My superpower would be, maybe the ability to like snap my fingers and teleport myself to a different place. I love traveling and seeing new things in the world. And I don't even want to be confined to the bounds of the earth. So maybe also like other galaxies as well. Yeah. I think that I love to meet new people. I'm interested in different cultures, learning about how people live, think. And so I think probably that. But now I'm like, I don't know, I want to enter different dimensions. So is it like teleportation but the multiverse? Or is it like teleportation and time travel? I don't know. So either like current day teleportation to the past or present or future, or like teleportation across the multiverse. So I know that's a lot, but it's basically just teleportation. Favorite author. I don't know. The author who's like, most influential to me right now is obviously Octavia Butler, because like that's really how I got into like this modern day speculative fiction space. And I got there through Adrienne Maree Brown. So maybe I should really thank Adrienne for that instead. But then, like, I also love Toni Morrison. And I don't love Toni Morrison for the reason that people think that I should love Toni Morrison. So, the only thing that I read two things by Toni Morrison. As a kid, the only thing that I read in high school was The Bluest Eye. And I honestly didn't quite enjoy it. Like, I just felt like it was, like, droning on and on and on, page after page. And so I read Recitif since she passed and transition onto the ancestral realm. But what I love about Toni Morrison for me actually isn't the writing, because it doesn't speak to me, unfortunately. But I love her vibes. Like every interview that I've ever seen from Toni Morrison, like her critical eye critique and criticism of the world, how it functions, of publishing, of how to operate in space is just so amazing and interesting, especially for a Black woman of her time period. The fact that she didn't start writing until late in her life, the way that she's been able to like hold the feet to the fire of like the white literary publishing world, like honestly, we just stand consistently. So I would go with Toni Morrison for those reasons. And then I think because I've read so much of their work, like so much, would be Richard Wright. And I don't know if I said Langston Hughes earlier and meant Richard Wright, but Richard Wright. So I've read Native Son and Black Boy really young, like, I don't know, maybe second or third grade. And had basically tried to read so much of his writing since then, and I just thought it was interesting. And I definitely have like my own critiques of the work as an adult, but like, yeah, I just thought it was like really cool, good writing. What kind of music do I listen to when I write? I would say like honestly, mostly lo-fi music. I definitely sometimes put on classical, sometimes jazz, sometimes a lo-fi hip hop. I'm gonna be quick because the baby is getting fussy. Actually, let me put him in here. Give me a second. Okay, we're gonna just keep going. What kind of music? So yeah, I listen to a lot of lo-fi music, jazz, hip hop, lo-fi is mostly what I listen to when I write. If I could live anywhere, where would it be? I don't know. Anywhere where there's not a bunch of oppression, no sexism, no racism, no homophobia, no patriarchy. Does that place exist on Earth? Probably not. So am I talking about going to the galaxy and the stars? Probably. And lastly, what do I do when I get writer's block? Honestly, sometimes I just try to like read or watch some inspiration. So something that like is maybe outside of even my genre to get my like my brain flowing. Sometimes I'll read stuff that I wrote and be like, damn, that's good. Like, you wrote that? Okay, sis. So sometimes it's that. But I think like honestly, especially watching or reading like some sci-fi, because honestly, like it's usually the type of content that is like so out of this world that you could not have thought of or imagined it on your own. And so that's what I like to do. Okay, y'all, that's the author tag. I'm gonna rock baby a little bit and see if he'll go to sleep so that I can start writing again. And we're gonna go from there. Peace. Hey y'all, we're back. It is day 3 of NaNoWriMo. And I'm so glad that I actually was able to get my word count in today. Because it was a struggle. So we didn't have any childcare. And so that made this morning a little bit of a struggle. Our nanny has been sick. She has the flu, unfortunately. We definitely hope she gets better soon. But of course, it put a little bit of a damper into my plans for how I was going to figure out how to write this week. And so this morning was definitely a struggle. There was no writing this morning. However, this afternoon, I was finally able to like get the baby to go to sleep, hold him by wearing him, and get some words done. And was actually able to successfully hit my word count. Now, day 1 and day 2, I exceeded my word count every day. Like I was probably writing close to 2,300 words a day. Today, I am just glad to have hit the word count, honestly. I think today was difficult. I definitely started feeling some imposter syndrome today. For on 2 accounts. Number 1, for me, whenever I do something mentally challenging, my brain hurts. Like literally hurts. When I haven't felt this way in a long time, but I remember like when I was sometimes when we working in journalism and was covering something that was not my typical beat, or like some very convoluted policy or language, like my head would hurt. And not like a headache. It feels like brain synapses firing and just hurting. And I used to hate that feeling. And that's how I was feeling today. Like I found trying to get in my groove today very, very difficult. And then the second thing that I started feeling was a little bit like a imposter. And I use imposter lightly because like I know I'm supposed to be doing this and I'm a writer, but I'm not trained in fiction writing. Like, I have had very little training, if at all. I've literally taken 2 workshops, um, both on speculative fiction that were a few weeks. I've done one like drop in little like generative class, and I did Tin House, but that's it. Like, and both Tin House was really like some critiquing of your writing, but it wasn't like, here's how you structure, here's how you outline, here's how you get through things. Like, that's not what Tin House was. And so I feel like I'm very much like building the plane while I'm flying, and like trying to understand and uncover some of these techniques while I'm writing. And because I don't have a lot of that foundation, it just slows down my writing a lot. And I start second guessing some of the plot decisions that I've made because I'm not sure that I can like effectively execute them. I would say along with that, I don't write highbrow literary writing, right? Like, that's just not my writing style. At least not for fiction. Now, if we were talking nonfiction or something like that, maybe potentially. But I just try to write really accessible content because that's the kind of content that I like to read. I don't really like, you know, long, expressive prose. That's not my thing. I respect it. It's cool. I get why people enjoy it, but it's not my thing. Like, I want to be able to like read through stories that feel like I can visualize them in my brain. So I know that some people say that they have never done this before, but when I'm reading something, I can like visualize what I'm reading in my brain like a movie. And if the writing is like choppy because it's full of like these long soliloquies and like similes and like metaphors instead of just getting to the point, it's just gonna break up my flow. So basically, I write the types of books that I would want to read. But because of that, sometimes I'm like, is this actually interesting enough? Like, did I explain this in enough detail? Did I give this enough of a punch? Especially because I can sometimes be a skim reader. Mostly just because, like, I'm one of those people who want to get to the point. Like, where is this going? What's next? What's happening? And so I'm also known to skim. And so in some ways, I think I write details that way. And so it's just like the things that I'm dealing with while trying to write. In total, I have written, I believe, I have to go back and look at the document, but it's like at least, I think close to 60, either 6,500 or 6,800 words so far with this story. So I think the story is definitely going to be overwritten. I'm getting very close to the like back portion of the book. I would say I'm like 70% done this short story. Because the ending is kind of already written for the most part. And so I'm just like finishing up this little section so that I can actually like, for the most part, feel like this story is done. And that's going to feel so good because the essence of the story is still here, but it's changed and morphed a lot. So the baby is crying. I'm going to go get him and probably take the baby and my toddler to the park or something, so we can get some fresh air and sunshine. But just wanted to give y'all a quick update. Peace. Okay, let's get into it. So it is November 6th. It is late, like it is 8:48, and I have not written a word today. Like zero, none. Um, Life happens, like motherhood and like being a wife and a parent has just taken over my day completely today. But I had a lot of fun with my spouse and my kids, so I guess that's always a plus. But it definitely means that I am going to try to bang out all of my words in the next 2 hours. So I'm about to get started here in a second. My total word count is 9,933 words. So we are definitely going to hit the 10,000 word mark today. But we will see if we're actually able to reach our word count for today. This part of my story is not like wasn't outlined. I kind of am just winging the section, which is why I think it's going to take me a
2,000
while.
years later.
Oh my God, y'all, I did it. I finished my short story. That felt so good to finish. My word count is 10,843 words. So I guess I would definitely consider it a novelette and not a short story. Just closing that by all accounts, but it's done. Oh, wow. That first draft is good. I'm definitely going to have to edit it. I'm sure there are things that don't make sense. Spelling errors, context things, blah, blah, blah. But to be completely done a full draft, wow. I'm like sweating. I mean, I'm also hot because I was walking on this treadmill, but I am probably going to let this story rest for the rest of the month of November. So I'm going to start working on my novel tonight, which is like reading through the outline for it. But yeah, I'm gonna let this short story sit for the rest of the month of November, and then I'm gonna spend the 2 weeks of December editing it because my plan is to submit it to a magazine, a literary magazine, and their cutoff is December 31st for their spring issue. So I'm gonna submit it and see what happens. I'm very excited about this. I can't believe it. Wow. That's all I can say. It's wow.